Thank
Hello.
you.
Hi, Hunter.
Hi,
Thank you so
everybody.
much for
Hi.
that intro. That was very special.
Yeah. Oh, you're all very special. This is going to be a great one.
Thank you. Thank
So,
you.
oh yeah, yeah. Thank you for being here. So before we jump in, I'd love to just do a little round robin so you can each introduce yourself. And something I like to do is I'll pick one of you and then you can pitch it to the next person. So Stephanie, how about we start with you?
Awesome. Stephanie Cannon, work at Pitney Bowes. I oversee operations excellence and innovation on the global e-commerce side. And Demetra.
All right. Thanks, Stephanie. Demetra Jones. I'm the VP of Corporate HR Functions for Pitney Bowes based in Connecticut. And Marifer.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Marifer Rodriguez. I'm a Director of Communications at Pitney Bowes, and I'm also a social media strategist. And we're very excited to
Awesome.
be here today. Thank you. We would like
Thank
to say
you.
how excited we are for this event and to be part of the Power to Fly. Thank you for inviting us.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you all, and I love hearing each of your backgrounds is casts a wide net from very different sides of the industry here. So this is going to be a really fun conversation to hear all of your wisdom from your different zones of geniuses. So Stephanie, let's kick it off with you. This is Women's History Month, and as I like to say, with any month of celebration, it's also Women's History Month every day. So, it shouldn't just be one month, it shouldn't just be one day, it should be every day. So, as you have been navigating your career, you have worked in a male-dominated industry most, if not all of your career. What would you say are the keys to success that you've had of getting to where you are today?
Yeah, I would say the number one thing is confidence. Confidence in the messages that you deliver, confidence in the work that you do, and being okay about having confidence in that, not arrogance, right? But confidence in what you have to say and what you have to do. And one of the things I always try to say is I come very prepared to meetings and come very prepared to conversations. Preparation can limit you rambling on or talking too much about something, and really get you back to having clear and concise messages. And that really creates what I would consider confidence that then turns into being very influential. And being influential is really actually what is probably one of the more critical components too of continuing to drive success and move up in your career in a male-dominated field.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. The preparation I really identify with because, and we'll get into this a little bit later too, about, feelings of imposter syndrome or I shouldn't speak up or any of that. But when the preparation kicks in, then I think that helps aid the confidence, right? Like one helps the other.
Mhm.
Yeah. And also with confidence, I think it's what would you say is I think it's so unfair, right? That like confidence for women is judged differently than confidence for men. Have you experienced that at all?
I think less as my career's gone on. I think I do
Hmm.
experience that a little less. What I'll say is when it comes to confidence, I do think we sometimes don't speak up or, throughout my history, I will say I have spoke up and said something and not really been heard. And then the same thing will be said in the same meeting or the same conversation. And the answer will be, oh, wow, that was really great idea. So I go back to again, like making sure you have very clear and concise the way that you deliver so that there is no way that anybody did not hear or understand exactly what you were trying to convey in that message. And so that's why I keep going back to that confidence, but the clear and concise and being prepared.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that. Let's go over to Demetria. Um, so it's not very common. You have a really wonderful backstory here that here that someone started as an intern and has been working at the same company for 28 years since 1996, which is incredible. Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah, don't age me, Hunter, okay? Thank you.
Sorry, I'm sorry, it's not fair. Later today, we will be having a chat about navigating careers after 40, which I'm about to approach. So I'm very much looking forward to that talk later today.
Awesome. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
But it's amazing that you have this long career at this one company. So clearly there has to be some common thread that is an ongoing change in your ongoing development.
Yeah.
When you look back, what are the most valuable tools and skills that have helped you to make that transition and those multiple transitions from those different roles?
Yeah, I think it goes back to something that Stephanie just mentioned, and it's not just being in a male-dominated profession. It is also being the new kid in the block, the youngest kid in the room,
Mm,
the maybe the younger manager of people who are older than you. It's just to be confident and to speak from preparation. But obviously, I'm in HR. Also, speak with empathy, understand the positioning of the other person, that you are a new manager and they've had this experience before, but you're bringing something new to the table, but make sure that they understand that you appreciate what they brought to the table. And I think I've
mm,
been able to navigate. Yes, it's not common that you see someone with one employer for so long at this time, but there's been a lot of change and opportunity within Pitney Bowes during those years that I've been here. And each time where I made a change, it was also thinking about not having a fear of taking a step in a direction that I hadn't thought of. Right. My progression wasn't a straight upward bound. It was a zigzag, come back, go to this business unit, take a chance in an area where I didn't know I had a lot of interests, but there was curiosity. And I think that's
mm,
what is very important, that you have curiosity when you're thinking of an opportunity that may not look like it can benefit you right now. But when I look back on my career, every step I took actually created a foundational building block to give me skills to get to the position where I am today in a very non-traditional way. But it's that not having that fear of taking a leap of faith, and using the network that you've created during your career to move throughout. And I never expected that my journey would keep me here at Pitney Bowes this long, but because of the opportunities, the changing environment here, there was always an opportunity to volunteer for a project that got me more exposure, that then exposed me to new opportunities within HR or within a different department.
mm.
And so that not having that fear and being able to speak up, being prepared, all of those things really help in whatever environment you're working in.
I love that. And it is interesting that we say in a non-traditional way that you've had this trajectory, but I feel like it's the American dream that we all have been told exists, and you actually have done it.
Yeah.
It's pretty
And it helps
amazing.
that I work for a company that really aligns with my values and doing the right thing
Yeah.
the right way. And one of the things we don't have on this call is someone from our talent team, but we do look inward. So there's a
Mm,
lot of focus on internal mobility and development of skills so that you can move across. And there's an opportunity for people to take on stretch assignments. And it does feel uncomfortable, I will tell you. And sometimes you might feel like this was not the right move to make. I've had a couple of those stints in my career, but those also helped me to build the character and build the employee and leader that I am today.
yeah. Growing is so uncomfortable. Do we have to keep growing? Can I just stop now?
Unfortunately, Hunter, we talked about this milestone that you're coming up against. You still have to keep growing. Yes.
Okay. All right. Hopefully by the end of this talk, I'll feel a little more comfortable with it. Um, I'd love to hear from Marifer. Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Is that
Yes,
right?
perfect. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. What does career advancement mean to you? Is it getting a promotion? Is it more money? Is it more responsibility? all, none of those? What does that look like for you?
I think it's a little bit of all of it, right? But
Yeah.
also taking on more leadership in the new roles or new opportunities, or raising your hand to take, new projects. It's about that responsibility, and you're showing leadership to me. That's what it means to me. Being able to work with other teams, lead a project, right? Those every single step helps in your career and advancement, right? To Dimitri's point, like as you take new roles or new projects, or you're growing, right? And so you're developing new skills, and that will ultimately help, when they're looking for someone to take on a new role, they will look at you because of all the experience that you have built.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And I'm
Um,
actually a good example of internal mobility at Pitney Bowes.
yeah.
So when I started in marketing, actually, as a social media specialist.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, and then I was in the marketing field. I have a double degree in marketing and public relations communication. So, I spent 5-6 years of my career in marketing and social media, and then did that jump to communications. Again, Pitney Bowes is a great place to work because, it gives you those opportunities, right? You're not stuck in a single, with a single role or a single set of skills, but they're always looking to grow those skills and place you in different roles. And so I moved to communications, and again, kind of like built my resume or my skills there as well. And, for the past 7 years already. So time flies at PB. So
Yeah.
again, started as, communications, media relations, and then just continue to grow and, to the role that I am today.
Incredible. And that's a perfect segue. Speaking of communications and miscommunications, I just found out that you were supposed to moderate this and not me. So I apologize about
It's
that. I just got a little word in my ear here. This just in, Hunter made a little mistake. So
Well,
I
this
very much
speaks
apologize
this
for that.
speaks to our skills. We can, as it goes, we go with the flow. So Stephanie,
I noticed that. I was
I mean,
like,
happy.
yeah,
Thank you for the question.
everyone's rolling with it. I did notice the vibe was a little weird at first, and I realized it was me. It was me.
No way, it was not you. We're all flexible.
Yes.
Flexibility is valuable.
But I know
Well,
that I do know this lady is better. This lady is better than you. So I have a few questions and things that I wanted them to share with the rest of the, everybody that is watching, because their careers are also very, amazing. So they
yeah,
have
absolutely.
things that I wanted them to share.
Yeah, well, Marifer, how about I hand it over to you for the rest of the talk, and I'll be here if you need anything, okay?
Thank you. We'll bring
Thanks,
you back for
Hunter.
the questions.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll happily pull the questions from the audience if you want. I'm happy to navigate that.
Awesome.
Dimitri
Okay.
and Stephanie, thank you for playing along. We're all wondering what's happening here. But, I think we got started. I do want you to talk a little bit about your roles, right? Because Dimitri, in your case, you started as an intern at PV and have grown, within Pitney Bowes in the past, 28 years. So can you tell us just a little bit about that, what that experience looks like, and that internship experience at the beginning?
Yeah, so my internship experience was through a program that creates a process for students called Inroads. And I began very early. So I was a senior in high school when I started working at Pitney Bowes before my freshman year. So I was a rising freshman going into college, but working in the professional environment in an area that I didn't know really a lot about. I was an economics major with a business minor. But I was thinking of something in the financial realm, and I took a chance on an opportunity in human resources. And little did I know how much data analytics modeling that goes into some of the background for HR. And so I continued my internship experiences during the summer, sometimes in the winter breaks as well as needed. And I got to rotate in lots of different areas of HR to learn that I could use the same skills in modeling in HR in a different way. So that was very interesting. Again, it was a risk. I had great advisors at that time that helped me navigate between, think of this, a high school student working in a professional environment with adults, right? And
Yes.
you are used to addressing your teachers in a manner, but now you're really seen as a person who's accountable for work. And they're not going to remind you, they're going to tell you what to do, and they expect it to be done. When you need help, you need to speak up. And so I think I learned that very early in my career as an intern,
Yes.
that those expectations that you thought you had and the responsibilities as a young adult were different in the professional environment, and the expectations were different. And I think that just helped me carry on throughout, my career at Pitney Bowes. So I did convert. They offered me an opportunity when I graduated. And so it just accelerated from there. So I've worked in HR, employee relations, compensation and benefits, analytics and reporting, modeling information, and working now in corporate functions, supporting really the leadership of what we call shared services. So leading our HR practice, so supporting marketing, legal, finance, IT, engineering. So working with all those groups to support their needs to make sure that their employees can be successful. So lots of different roles in between those internship years and now, but it's a great experience. And I think those early years really did teach me a lot about speaking up, being prepared, and the responsibilities required to move along. But also, the first step was a risk. And so I learned from there that
I
it
don't
could
know if you know
benefit
this
you.
about myself, but I also started as an intern. So I started my corporate career as an intern, also out of high school. So I completely understand, and I know about taking those responsibilities, and that definitely helps. Those early years help build your character, right, as a professional. I see a question in the chat about mentorship, and that was actually one of the questions that we have prepared for this conversation. And so I'm going to go to Stephanie, and, how did you, let's talk about the mentors and the people you meet along the way, which are very important. I have been personally in my career, I can, tell you, and I'm sure both of you can also attest to that as well. But Stephanie, what are your thoughts about mentorship and the role of mentorship in career development?
Yeah, so I think about mentorship maybe a little bit differently than other people do. So I'm not a huge fan of mentorship when it comes to, hey, I need a mentor, somebody at my company connect me with a mentor and let's see how it works, right? I believe mentorships are a little bit more natural, actually. And I believe that mentorships really are based more upon connection, right? And so if I think about my life and my mentorships, I think about my grandparents, right? They're both passed away now. They're 90-some years old, but when I was growing up, they were entrepreneurs, business owners, and as I was navigating my little child life, right, I looked at them as mentors as, what do I want to do when I grow up? And I looked at work ethic, right? And I was taught work ethic, and if you want things in life, you have to work for them, and nothing's for free, and really learned a little bit about like what it took to actually have a career, right? Like in order to have a career, you had to put in time, and that sometimes meant you had to forget about or prioritize different parts of your work. And then as I got older into my career and I found mentors, I found some really amazing mentors, and actually some of the bosses I had growing up. Some of the bosses I had taught me some of the most important things that I ever learned, putting me in roles that I was not comfortable with. And I think that's mentorship, right? It goes, you're going to be fine. You're going to figure it out, And then I also think too, external mentors are incredibly important. So your network and external mentors, somebody told me this one day, and it hit with me more than anything. Your network is your net worth. And I actually have more external mentors nowadays than I have anything internally at work or even family or anything like that. My external mentors really help me sort of guide through, what do you want to do in your career? What are the things that you're really good about? What are the opportunities that we see out there that you might fit with that I may never have thought about? What in your internal job that you're doing now? They spend a lot of time because they have that spend a lot of time telling you how to navigate like difficult conversations or navigate actually how to develop people. And when you talk about how do I, I'm organizing my organization to drive the best value I can right now. Like, how do I organize? What am I missing in the organizational, thoughts that I'm thinking about? So mentors to me are actually probably one of the most important things that's ever happened in my career. Would not be here today if it wasn't for all those people in my life that guided me through different parts of each of my life.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. So would you say if you're early in your career, you're just getting started, would you say hopefully you get like a great boss, right? That really guides you and give you extra opportunities and all of that. And as you continue to grow in your career, you need to start looking out, or would you from the beginning, like if you had to do it all over again from the beginning,
No, I absolutely 100% naturally believe that the first mentors in your life are the people closest to you, right? So that's probably family, right? The second mentors in your life are in first in your life too. It could be professors, it could be people you met at school, things like that. The second phase of mentorship, in my opinion, is when you're early in your career. Your bosses, they may call it development. It's actually mentorship, in my opinion, because when they develop you, they're actually teaching you how to navigate difficult conversations or how to navigate these things. They're getting you the help you need to be able to do this next thing or whatever. And so I laugh about that sometimes, the difference between development and mentorship. Is there really a difference? I don't know if there is. And then I do think external mentorship really does come later in your career, right? It's when you've hit to a position. Sometimes if you're looking in your own company, those are your counterparts and stuff, right? It's a little bit more difficult to navigate some of those conversations with somebody that, is your colleague, right? Because it can get awkward, right? It can get awkward. But when you have these external mentors, they're bringing different perspectives from different industries, different perspectives from different experiences that maybe somebody at your company wouldn't have had. And they're also, they're different, right? And so I do think that that's usually a later in your career. As you get older in your career, you really got to look at some of those external people to really guide you through the next phases of your life and career.
Something that has worked for me personally is to, for example, I have a great boss or somebody at the company that I admire, that I've built a relationship, and then they leave, right? That's a perfect opportunity to continue that relationship outside of work, right? And continue to have that mentor, and that's how you start building those external, right, relationships.
Yes.
So stay in touch with those bosses.
Yeah, your mentors throughout your life. Like some of your external mentors may be there in the early career, like you mentioned, professors or advisors, and they could come back around as you make transitions. So there are different ways that those mentors in your life intersect. And I like the way that you said that, like your first mentors are really closest to you, and then you start gradually to branch out from there. And they interweave into your life throughout your career. At least I found.
Yes. And I mean, you both touch on building a network, right? How important it is to have that network. So, Demetria, how do you go about creating and expanding your network? I know that you're a member of the Society of Human Resources Management. We know that there are societies and groups out there that, kind of like, for communications, there are communications, or for HR, there are for HR. I know, Stephanie, you're a member of other, like, innovation or technology, all of those groups that are out there. But Demetria, tell us about how you go about it.
I think those professional networks are definitely an intro to building your network. So also early in career, participating in one of a professional networks that is either national or local is important early in career. And you can find out about those the ones that are beneficial to you through your manager, or you could also do some research on your own. But I think to continue to build your network, it's when you participate in a conference, you may meet someone that's a peer in another company and you just clicked and you can bounce ideas off of. Or, Maverick, you mentioned a good example. People transition. They don't stay with the same company for 28
Some
years,
people.
maybe. And so you have them in your network and you continue those relationships and you build upon that. And I think just at different stages of your life, you'll meet people through your travels. So I have a lot of community outreach that I do, that I meet other professionals that are in HR or in adjacent organizations or adjacent fields of professionalism. And I'm a wife and mother, and there are networks that I joined with those parts of my life that also have professional connections that I can glean and use as a part of my broader network. So I think we're always creating a network.
Yeah.
It's not something that is something that's foreign. And I think I understand where you're coming from, Stephanie, is where it's not a formalized program where you're assigned a mentor. They develop over time. And they may sound like friendships. They
Yes.
may be a co-chair on a committee that you're on for the community, or they may be a former coworker.
Not that we're not saying don't participate on those programs, because
Oh, no,
even at Pitney
absolutely
Bowes, I
not.
know that there are
Absolutely
formal
not.
programs like,
Absolutely.
mentees, but I do agree with Stephanie as well, like, because you can be assigned someone, but there is nothing like finding someone that you really have something in common with, or that you admire, right? Look up to. I always tell people, spend time with the people that you want to be, right? Like how you see yourself in a few years. Okay, find those people, those individuals, those women in my case, right? And see what they do, who they interact with, who are their connections, right? And that's how you start building kind of like that path towards that goal, right? Stephanie,
Absolutely.
thank you, Dimitri. Stephanie, for those that are introverts that are maybe saying, well, I don't know about joining a group or
Yep.
in-person activities or going to events and going, it is tough going into a networking event and you don't know anyone and, you don't even know where to start. What are other ways that we could build a network?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm involved in a lot of different communities and councils, and some of them are executive councils, and we all have different backgrounds and experiences. I go to events. I will say, I have a few things to say about this stuff. I go to events. One thing I think a lot of people do not do well is they meet a lot of people at events, but not staying connected. You exchange numbers and then you don't stay connected, right? I make a really big point on trying to grab coffee with them. If I meet them in town somewhere, try to grab some dinner and really just have conversations. But one of the other ways too is LinkedIn. If you guys know, I have a huge LinkedIn presence. I do a lot of podcasts that get put on LinkedIn. I get on and I have things that I'm incredibly passionate about. So sometimes when I'm laying in bed at night, I'll write these big articles on, my thoughts on, say, autonomous vehicles or about robotics and the revolutions. You guys seen some of those probably recently. Those build connections because then people connect and really want to talk about those different things. I think just getting on LinkedIn and being a thought leader and really trying to go out and, it honestly takes no longer than 5 minutes a day to spend a little time and write something on a collaborative article about something you already know. And it really does broaden your connections out in the world and sort of on a digital platform, honestly.
Yeah, that's totally correct and a great way to build additional, and people that you have ideas and skills and in common, right? Like people that you can interact with in a very professional but also friendly way. I knew that this half an hour was gonna go by so quickly. I just looked at the clock, it's 1 p.m. We didn't even get to more questions from the audience, and I didn't even get to all the questions that I had scripted for you guys. But I wanted to thank you. Obviously, I don't want to go over the time, but Hunter, I see you're back.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Hunter.
Welcome back.
Thank you so much. I have more questions for all of you. Just kidding, we're out of time. Thank you so much for rolling with it, being amazing. Thank you all for your insight. I really appreciate the three of you being here and being such a delight. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for having us.
Thank you to Power to Fly.
Yeah, have a great day now.